Yakusoku Dana, yes, we promised, and it's the promised Neverland. Season 2, just what everybody wants to hear about.
On KHANTEHNT!
KHANTEHNT! But first, go to subscribestar.com/KHANTEHNT and get all our bonus episodes for a paltry $10 dues. And also,
Paltry.
watch this ad. Hey kids, want to impress your friends and induce sexual arousal in your neighbors? KHANTEHNT t-shirts!
Wow, I've never been more impressed in my life with anything!
KHANTEHNT now has official t-shirt merchandise, and you can get yourself some by clicking below the video or in the Teespring link in the description. With designs like the classic KHANTEHNT logo.
Or this!
I've got a shirt on too.
Or this. KHANTEHNT! In these trying times, why not tell the world you'd rather be watching Camp from inside your cozy can tent? They're a great way to support the show and share your KHANTEHNT pride. So get out there, wear them, and get into KHANTEHNT. KHANTEHNT!
偽りの楽園を抜けた先は
みんな走って
Here we are. We've left Gracefield House and we're out in the world, Neverland, Season 2.
Oh boy, it's happening. I
all
gotta
happening.
say, you know, I was worried because people were like, Season 2 is a clusterfuck apparently compared to the manga. I've been enjoying it more than Season 1 personally.
See, this is the distinction. I'm sure that people... are the things that are happening in the anime, like, incoherent or particularly bad? Not really. But as someone who has read the manga past where some differences happen, I'm like, oh, I see the vast amount of content, some of which I very much enjoyed, just gone, and we will speak about it. So, you know, it's a little funny. Is it fair to judge an anime adaptation as, like, it's bad because it didn't include everything from the source material?
I don't think so. I mean, you
No?
can say that it's not a... You can say it's not as good as the source material or that it's not a good adaptation of the material, but like I don't think it makes the show bad if it like the show whether the show's good or bad depends on how you feel when you watch it.
What do you think about this? I sometimes think about this that like I'm mad because this show very likely precludes the possibility that an anime adaptation covering all the stuff I do want will ever exist.
That would be the biggest
know?
reason to be upset about it, for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, like, I totally think it would be valid to be mad that you don't get the anime you want.
Sure, yeah.
Like, I guess this, what we've gotten so far, none of it seemed to me to have broken down to a level where it didn't make sense anymore. Or, like, was hard to follow. And
I think when I tell you some of the things that changed, you'll be like, oh,
that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Well, because it starts off in a way where like the kids are just running through the forest.
It starts
getting
off
chased
just
by
like
a
it does in
monster.
the manga. So that part was all good. Yeah.
Because like right away I found myself asking questions like, okay, like we know Norman's going to be back at some point. So what's like I'm immediately excited about him.
It's
he's
very
not
likely.
He's not even in the OP at the
Right.
beginning, so, but there's like space for him. So it's like, all right, what's going to be going on with him?
I mean,
what's going to be out in these?
It's really funny to think that like when people were watching this, they didn't know how much would or wouldn't be from the manga, and so when people feel the gut drop when they're like, oh God, they cut out all that. I mean, I'm just saying, I understand. I'm sorry, but yeah.
Were people worried that Norman just would not come back under the
Well, I
circumstances?
mean, there was a lot more material before Norman's reveal happens here, like a lot more material. So the fact that he comes back so soon, he comes back in episode 5 of season 2, that is so fucking soon after the shit. In the manga, it's like, I mean, I read up to roughly chapter like 50, 60, and Norman, we had been shown he was alive, but like none of this had happened yet. They cut like 40 chapters at least out of the middle of this, so it's a lot of material. I mean, something like 30, 20, 40, something like that.
That's fascinating, because my assumption, having heard this story described by other people, was that when they got off the farm, it was going to be in a city. Like, my whole expectation was we're going to go to a big demon city, like a modern city, and they're going to have to fucking, like, run around in the streets under cover. Totally not like that at all.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, kind of. Even then, that's not as modern of a city as I was imagining.
Right,
Like, I was literally thinking, like, it'd be Tokyo and run by demons or something. Had no idea what that would look like in my head. But now that we're actually out in the world, it makes way more sense than that. And, like... the characters find themselves in like a giant forest where there's all these demons just like running around hunting, trying to find them, or just randomly existing in the wild. And we learn from the couple of demons who take the kids in that like this world is actually two separate worlds, I guess. There's the demon world and human world. I'm gonna please put in fingers around my dick right here, whoever's editing this. You'll know what I'm looking for.
One time I fought a demon that ate human fingers around my dick. I never forgot the stench. The same stench of rotting fingers around my dick that came out of your mouth when you got your mouth around my dick.
So the kids find out that there is like potentially a whole world where humans are dominant. There are no demons. This is all based on a pact humans and demons made fucking ages ago.
Yep, like 1,000 years or something.
So like all of that was, I guess it was like I had been waiting for the other shoe to drop throughout all of season 1, and now it did. What the fuck actually is the show? Like, what is the world outside the farms? What are we getting ourselves into? Now I know. I have a pretty decent sense of what demons are like, why their society functions the way it does, the fact that they have to eat people in order to live, or else their body degenerates, and like the only way they can have a human form and brain is by eating humans with human form and brain, because they take on the form of whatever they eat basically. So all of that was like, okay, now I get it. Now I'm in the saddle. I'm ready to enjoy this show, and I felt that way pretty much from the point where like they sit down with the two demons and like have the conversation and like get trained by them. Because I was also like, how are they going to have allies in the outside world? It's all run by demons. Just hadn't thought about, of course, there could be demons who would be on their side too, just like there were in the...
it touches on the idea of how like we're making assumptions about demon culture. We know they're intelligent, so of course there are going to be some diverging opinions here. Now, the meeting of these two demons who are considered like heretics because they don't eat humans for specifically religious reasons, they say. They're not made totally clear to us, but we see them acting very religiously and whatnot. Now we're forced to reconcile with like, oh, okay, so some demons aren't bad people. It sure was lucky that those demons, the heretics, there's like 2 out of like all demon society happen to be in the neighborhood when our band of characters like happen to show up in the woods.
Right.
This begins, it doesn't begin, but it continues a sequence of massive helpful coincidences that it bothered me a little bit, but again, once I rekajigger my expectations and I think, look, this show, it is like a fairy tale story where things work out. There's a juxtaposition though about like how high the stakes are. The fact that all their kids, right, they're tailing like a bunch of like almost toddlers and stuff. And actually, this is funny. I looked back in the manga as I was comparing a couple things. Things are way more dark and edgy a lot of the time in the manga. Where, for example, they get to when they get to the shelter, which we'll talk about more. Let me just, for the sake of example, they get to the shelter eventually. There's this room here. This room with covered in like blood writing or something with the word like help written on the shelter. In the manga, it's actually the word pursuers written across the wall. Okay, for whatever distinction that makes. There's a whole arc about the meaning of that room, and also there's an important like guy who lives in that room who they deal with, who's like their current resident, who just isn't in the story anymore. And like, what did they replace it with? They replaced this with nothing. There's absolutely like literally why is this here? Who's crying for help? Like, we can infer things in the manga. It is addressed and answered. In this, it's shown, but we get absolutely no answers whatsoever. That's the kind of thing I'm like frustrated with. And that edgy guy character with the gun, who they meet here, who isn't in the anime at all, he explains to them like, your people are going to die. You're fools. You're traveling with children. Me, I killed, or like all my people I was traveling with all died. We were kids. We escaped just like you did. They all died. I'm the only survivor. I've been here for like a decade. But like our characters, everything works out great for them all the time due to amazing coincidences, like meeting the 2 friendly demons in the entire world coincidentally. So it's just,
I mean, like, it's one of those things where it didn't have to be as much of a coincidence as it was, because when we first meet those 2 demons, we have no reason to think they're the only ones who would be like, like.
Then we learn how special they are.
I had definitely a sigh moment when we learned just specifically that she is like the one.
She's like the chosen one demon or something. Yeah. God fucking damn it, guys. Just have her be a member of a particular faction of demons that has that particular belief, not literally God herself. Like, it's not that hard to make these things easier to swallow. Okay, it's not all bad, but like this is the series' worst sin, how it stacks up these coincidences and contrivances.
All the shots where we see all the kids running from a giant forest demon from Princess Mononoke.
Right.
But then later, when a bunch of army dudes have the kids at gunpoint, that monster just clears the trees, immediately murders all these army dudes gruesomely.
Right.
And the kids still are able to run scot-free away from this monster.
Those soldiers didn't have the gritty street smarts of our characters to avoid them and duck behind trees and run really fast.
Right.
They hadn't practiced tag the way our characters had, despite having tiny little baby legs when they run. Okay. So the introduction of those characters, I must say, I do like the kind of the little arc of the exit from the farm. When they meet those two characters, yes, it's heavily convenient, a little silly. But the actual way that, like, when we emerge into that world, we know, like, nothing. We're in a forest, and there's a little bit of, like an episode arc of them, like, using what they had learned from the books that William Minerva had, you know, their insider man, helping them from the outside, taught them, like, how to survive through these, like, folk tales and stuff. That was all pretty cool. Though it did raise in my mind, like, oh no, at any point that these characters need some crucial bit of information, they're just gonna crack open a William Minerva book, and oh, the code says it's this secret thing I need to do. Like the fucking pen. Let's discuss the pen for a moment.
Sure.
So the pen was something given to, essentially given from Crone, and it looked like it was like someone from this William Minerva organization or whatever got it into the farm the same way the books did. So, okay, I believe that it exists. But the actual functions of this pen are so unbelievably versatile and helpful. It's like a supercomputer which has all the information they need that they're able to unlock at the particular convenient time and not one moment before in the plot. And like, again, is it bad? No, it makes sense. I'm sure glad this technology exists. What if it didn't? That would sure be inconvenient. But it's like, oh boy, they're just stacking it up.
And why does the technology exist? I hope we get that question answered at some point.
It must be the future, I guess.
So the timeline is somewhat addressed here because we've been told the whole time it was like 2049 or something like that. And then we're told, okay, but it's not our conception of that because this world has been split for 1,000 years, they say.
Right.
Like it's 2046 by some human calendars, but actually humans and demon worlds have been like a thing for a long, long time.
Well, first of all, what did that fucking mean? By some human calendars, it's 2045. So you're saying that when the deal was done, it was 1046 or whatever it was. So okay, does that matter? That in no way informs us as to the timescale. Right. Basically, all this tells us is that this is just a world with an arbitrary date that, you know, since whatever happened, that just isn't Earth. It's just, like, it's on, they call it Earth, but there are demons on this Earth. This doesn't exist in real life, so it's just somewhere else.
I think there's a part where one of the kids actually just asks, like, are we on another planet?
Yeah, he says, are we on planet Earth? I think we might be somewhere else. And the demon, the big, tough demon man is like, this is Earth, but it's Earth of the Promised Neverland, which is not Earth of real life. So... yeah. What have we gained from this conversation?
No idea what the hell's going on. That's what we've gained.
That's fine. There is a human world that they could theoretically get to, but like it's sealed for 1,000 years, and there seems to be no way through. But there might be, because he doesn't know that for sure. So obviously we've got like a goal to get to the human world. That whole process of like being totally blindsided, having the little information help from like the books to survive in the woods, and then using like the pen to find some allies and find out the information. I enjoyed that little arc, and I thought it was a reasonably smooth transition, contrivances aside, to get us on to like what we're doing next. So William Minerva has become like the most important thing in the entire series. He gives them everything good that happens to these characters.
I like the bit where the demon who has helped them after they let them go, he's like, you know, I don't eat humans because I don't believe in the whole farming thing, but I would love to hunt humans. I want the opportunity. I want these kids to grow up with their big old brains and become warriors and strong and stuff so I can hunt and kill them.
Because his religion is specific. farm animals are not okay. It's got to be cage-free, natural-grown
Non-GMO,
humans.
yeah.
Non-GMO humans are allowed to be eaten. That was a real shift. It's like, so every demon, no matter what we do, even if they swear, they still want to eat humans. Doesn't look like this
Questionably
threat's going
her.
away.
She didn't seem like she was enthused about his.
Well, I
little
guess
speech.
she's Demon Jesus. She's the
Right.
one who
the one
doesn't
that
want
won't
to
eat you. But yeah,
But by the way, like just to touch on it, because we'll get back to her, but like she's relevant. There's a thing of like her blood can make demons not need to eat humans and retain their human form. They go into that more. Okay, clearly that's been done to her companion guy, who apparently doesn't eat humans, but he still isn't his human form. But he still wants to. He still wants to, even though he doesn't need to. That's an important distinction. So does this even solve the problem, even if they don't have to eat humans? I don't know. We'll just need we need petri dish grown brain dead humans from the start. Then it's ethical consumption. Wait, but then again, they need functioning human brains. Wait, no, I'm sorry, they don't. If they have her blood. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm untangling this whole mess as we go.
It's a little bit of a clusterfuck. So like they hang out with these two demons for a while, get trained up a little bit more.
Emma learns how to kill.
Yes.
Notably.
And then they go to this bunker that they find. And I can already tell from like what you were describing, because I thought this bunker arc was a little strange because they just kind of they show up in an empty place.
It wasn't supposed to be empty.
And they just kind of live there for a couple months until people show up and kick them out. Like
It felt super arbitrary watching this, especially knowing more is supposed to happen.
it did feel very arbitrary when it was just over, because like it's literally they show up in an episode, spend a couple episodes there, and then leave. Like they just
nothing
get
really
run
is
out. Right.
there is
Nothing changes necessarily.
The only, I guess, kind of important thing there is they get a phone call that like activates here when you enter or whatever from like the William Minerva person who's like, okay, this is me. I'm William Minerva. Here's the thing. Maybe I'm dead. I don't know. But I've been captured. I've been compromised. This is a recording. So who knows how long ago that whole William Minerva stuff happened. I set this whole thing up for you. You can live here in safety. It's unlikely you'll be able to get to the human world. There is a way you could go if you want to try to make the journey. So like use your pen, type in this code, and it'll give you like the coordinates if you want to risk the journey. Congratulations. So like that's it. So there is a potential for hope that they're given here from William Minerva and whatnot, but they could just stay here and try to eke out a little existence. So again, like the arc of the bunker here, in the manga, just to summarize, when they arrive, they're supposed to be a former, an adult man who escaped from a different farm, like Cowbell Farm, something like that. He just black pills them all, unlike there's no escape. This place is terrifying. All my friends died. I forget all the details of it, but like dealing with him is supposed to be the thing we do here. Then they lock him in a room, and then all the normal events happen because they beat him with their kids' street smarts or whatever. Right. But again, like his backstory, it's his group that like left these horrible messages on the walls about like help and save us, we can't escape, the names, like that we're supposed to deal with that. Instead we get nothing. We just don't deal with it at all. And this is where my memory starts to get hazy. What is then supposed to happen, instead of the enemy soldiers just break in on like Mama's orders, who's on the hunt for him again or whatever, Isabella is back, she's been recruited to track him down or whatever. They're supposed to go, I believe, leave a bunch of the kids there and go on some mission to help some kids in a specific place, which is called like the Glory Pond, the Goldie Pond arc or something. That's where I gave up. I started doing other things. But like they're supposed to have like missions. And I understand that while they're there, we're supposed to learn about like the specific demon nobles who run that place and like why they're hunting humans for sport, and our characters gain like new allies and tech and stuff. Instead, we get none of that, and the place just gets blown up, and we have a time skip.
It's weird. Like, for me watching it, not having read the manga, like, as they were going into the bunker, I remember having the feeling of like at the start of the show when we first established all the characters, there's that feeling of, all right, we know where everything is in the setting, we know who everybody's skills are, and now we're going to like set up these dominoes and knock them down. And so like when they get to the bunker, it's like, all right, we scout the whole place out, we see what it looks like, we find the escape passage, we've got all this stuff, and so I'm like, okay, like this is kind of a slow setup, but at least there's all these things being established that can be utilized when we finally get to something. and that doesn't really happen.
It's
they
utilized
just go
so
through
they
the escape route. Yeah,
the one escape route.
And
Yeah.
I will say the part where the one older kid and the scaredy kid are like trapped by themselves in a different room was the first moment I actually felt any sense of tension in this series, and it was because I had finally spent enough time with these characters to have any idea who they are. Like,
right. Now that we watch these episodes, I finally am like recognizing faces in the kids' crowd. Yeah, there's few enough kids to do it now.
And and it was one of the first situations where it's like, hey, both of these characters are unimportant enough that they could die here. Nobody's really died yet, so it was like, hey, this could happen. It doesn't. It's sorted pretty quickly, but like, I was like, wow, I actually somewhat felt the threatening thing I'm supposed to be feeling in this series. And then, yeah, it just kind of time skips to they all live in a castle now.
The whiplash I felt, where they blow up the sanctuary or whatever it's called, and we're just like a year later or something like that in a fucking castle now somewhere else, and they're all they've got a whole new life. They've got like
several
demon
kids
costumes.
are older and have longer hair.
Everyone's changed their hairstyle and stuff to show the passage of time. I was like, what the fuck, Jesus Christ. But as you were saying before, did that make the story like bad that this happened? Not in of itself, no. But I definitely felt a sense of loss of like there's a lot.
I could feel there was a lacking throughout. Again, this just barrels through arcs at a rate that like the first season was literally one arc for a whole season. This has been like 4 arcs already in the span of what we've got.
Right.
And I mean, again, it has made it better for me because I thought the first season was too goddamn slow. But it's funny to me to see that like people's complaint about season 1 was even then that stuff had been removed that gives it richer context, and now it's like doubling down on not having that.
We did what you want. Oh wait, no, we did the opposite of what you wanted. We made it way worse than it was before. This part is it's a little bit, we cut to something that's frustrating, and it's not bad, but we cut to the characters are in this new town, they're in a new place, but they're really struggling to get by. They can barely get enough food to feed each other. They risk death every single day going into like Demon Town to barter or acquire resources to take back to their sanctuary in their abandoned church or whatever, in like a demon church where like a demon man comes to visit them, but he's blind. So
I like how the demon village is presented as just like a quaint little fishing village type deal. Like kind of reminded me of I guess it's just like a European like seaside. Type place, but like
Kiki's Village and Kiki's Delivery Service.
Even lower technology and smaller than that, though. I think that it's like it's really small towns. You're not, and we learned that even for them, like, so they look at it as the farms are not providing them enough human meat to eat, which is
we get some horror shots of like tanks of human heads and human arms and stuff, which was fucked up.
That was great.
They need it to live. So
I love when the episode just opened with like a quick shot of a jar full of heads. The fact that the kids escaping is literally bad for the demons. They're like, and not just because they want to eat them, but like, oh, our children are dying because this, all of our food ran away and they can't supply us with more at like a fast enough rate to, keep us afloat. So it helps you to be a little bit sympathetic towards the demons. To be like, I mean, they really like, what else are they gonna do other than, I mean, they probably don't have to farm humans, but...
Well, I mean, hot take, but I'm fully sympathetic to the needs of the demon populace. It makes sense. I mean, luckily in real life, we don't need to face the reality of like, a lot of humans need to eat meat. Some people say you can be vegan. It looks like there's at least some negative side effects. So there's like a moral issue to be dealt with there. But that's nothing compared to what if every animal had human level sentience? It's like, okay, now we're having a totally different moral conversation about are we willing to like, what if humans were just cannibals and we like had to eat each other? That would be another question. But we see extremely clearly, we see like, there's 2 demon like brothers or something, and they go home to like their little sister and like a fucked up little monster that might be their brother. They seem like they're physically losing their human shape because they can't eat humans. And you're like, I understand the problem now. I get what's going on. And maybe there's a solution with the other demon girl's blood, but they clearly don't know about that possibility.
And those 2 demons who were going to help out their buddies get completely slaughtered in the streets
do.
by your boy Norman's team.
My man! He lived, everybody. He's back. He didn't die. Who could have seen that coming?
This was one of those reintroductions where I was immediately like, okay, well, he's now the bad guy. Like,
right,
which
right.
is good. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
his character always seemed like more of a bad guy, and it makes sense for him to reemerge into like an anti-hero role. But pretty much that's what the next few episodes are about.
He's gone full Eren. I mean, he's just
yeah,
Eren, literally.
He literally
now.
becomes Eren Yeager.
Why is every show Attack on Titan? Every single fucking show.
That was something I was gonna say. This show is kind of what I had been afraid Attack on Titan would be, because I thought that show was just gonna be these characters like go from place to place and avoid getting eaten by titans or fight titans as they pursue some greater mystery. This show actually does feel like that, of like it's just progress from place to place, find threat, move on to the next place. Like it's almost more adventure at this point than like a thriller mystery, which I'm sure doesn't feel that jarring in the manga, the way that the anime feels like a totally different show. Kind of.
Because I didn't finish reading everything, and I want to. I do want to go back and read the manga now. I'm just curious to finish like the Goldie Pond arc, see where it goes. I understand from the conversation I've seen that like the point of the Goldie Pond arc narratively, among other things, to establish like new connections for our characters and stuff, and to learn about like other farms, is to learn about like demon culture and like how the nobles operate in relationship to like the king of the demons, that there's like some hierarchy going on that has I think there's a reason for it to exist that way. I mean, we haven't spent any of that. The most we get is like those demon brothers and their like daughter or sister or whatever. And that was really good. And I want more of that. So knowing that there's more out there that hasn't been included makes me think like, they're not including some of the most juicy material, because now it's been just made super clear, just like Attack on Titan. The whole point here is like demons need to live a certain way, but I mean they introduce there is a solution. We now know what the solution is.
The final solution.
The final solution. In this case, it's a much better final solution where everyone gets to live, hopefully, and not kill each other.
Well, the humans get to live.
Well, okay, he wants the classic final solution. Norman,
Yeah.
kill them all. By the way, do you love? So Norman, he went to like the Lambda, the reason he's alive, he went to like the super genius farm because he's so fucking smart. Okay, fine. Makes enough sense to justify it. They were gonna do super smart things with him, fine. He has concocted a drug that makes demons go crazy. He just did it. He just made a drug that makes demons go stupid. We've solved the problem.
Yeah,
wow.
He explains this, and the other kids are just kind of like, oh, well, we weren't able to do anything.
We could barely survive.
Yeah.
I don't dislike Norman, but again, the convenience, I almost thought this was intentionally comical. He like is revealed to be alive. Next episode he shows up, he explains the plan. By the way, I invented a drug that turns demons into stupid animals.
Not next episode, because episode 6 was a recap episode.
That's episode like 5.5. I didn't have that one downloaded. I saw it in the episode list,
enough.
but you're right. You can skip that one, folks. A point is, like, goddamn, they're giving this man, okay, they're giving him god powers, but again, it's a fairy tale setting, right? Convenient things happen to move the plot along. It's for children. You shouldn't get that annoyed by it. I'm trying not to. And clearly the whole thing we're setting up is a conflict. Emma is like, kill all the demons? I met some nice demons, some ones who didn't kill me. Should we actually kill all the demons or not? Now the shoe's on the other foot. We'll save the demons.
I will say that this conversation, having seen it take place in Attack on Titan, can be done better.
Indeed.
But yeah, so like, it is pretty much just like Norman just shows up back in the plot and is like, I have all the answers.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
I can defeat... Now, granted, because of the fact that his plot is assumably not what they're going to go through with all the way, there is room for there to be however much more show there needs to be after that point. But like, it in his mind, it's like, this is just the end. We're gonna end this. We're just gonna kill them all tomorrow. It's like,
at least this one village as the starting
he literally
point.
tells him, like,
Well, he
yeah,
says, like,
we are
all across the
about
country,
to do
right?
this.
Doesn't he say
Like,
we've got sleeper agents in like every city across all of Demon World or something? How could he possibly have organized that in like 1 year? There's no
idea.
fucking way.
He's got a team.
I might be overstating it.
He's got the one hot chick who's eating the big fucking
Eating demon meat.
eating demon meat and just
Whoa.
being a fucking crazy bitch.
She's going full Lugosi. No,
She's
not
good.
Lugosi. Louis. Going full
Yeah,
Louis.
Louis.
Yeah. I even fuck it up in a different episode.
It's incredible. Yeah, she's the only one that stood out at all of his crew.
The other two are pretty mundane. Just
Yeah.
like we agree with killing them all.
She's big. She has big reason to want Demon dead.
They
and-
tortured her. They experimented on her. Makes sense.
But yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's just like I guess this whole morality play just plays out a little too fast. And I know I was just saying I like that it's faster, but like it literally is like Norman shows up and is like, I'm gonna kill all the demons, and then all the other kids go, great, and then Emma goes, well, maybe not. And Ray, I do like the scene where Ray is talking to her and he's like, now, you seemed hesitant. And she's like, well, you know, I don't want to say no. And he's like, if you don't do that now, you're definitely going to do it later at the worst moment and fuck all of us over. So just right now, get it out, go talk to Norman, be a normal fucking human being.
My man Ray,
I love that scene.
the Madara Uchiha of the Promised Neverland, is always like, look, frankly, I'm down with killing the demons. I don't really care one way or another, but I can clearly sense in you, and you're kind of my moral compass. You're the moral guy. Tell me what to do, Emma, and I will go with you. I'm for you, Emma. I trust you. By the way, I just want to shadow back. They make a bunch of jokes at the beginning about Emma, like when they first escape the farm. Emma like runs too hard, pushes herself too hard, and like collapses because she just chopped her fucking ear off. She's bleeding out a lot. So like she pushes herself too hard and takes on too much burden. Ray is like, all right, someone has to sacrifice themselves. I'll do it, guys. They make a joke that he's too willing to kill himself, and that was really funny. But I got a lot of heart out of the moment when Ray was like, he turns to Emma and the gang. He's like, guys, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm for you. I'm devoting my life to protecting my family. And I was like, aw, that's really sweet. My suicidal boy doesn't want to die anymore. He's got a purpose to live for.
Amazing.
It is amazing.
So these kids are sent back into the woods to go find the demons.
The 2 demons.
I don't. This is another thing. Like, so they went to that castle. They were up until they went to that castle. They had been being pursued actively. Now they're just like going back to the forest they were in and shit.
This
and
is
like,
one of those annoying things. When we last saw them, they were running in a wasteland from men with, I mean, when we last saw them, no one was physically there, but like how far could they get before they start following them again? We just don't have any explanation for how they got away. Series sometimes do this. They feel like a cut time skip. Everything's fine now is like satisfying. It's never satisfying. It's always annoying. Show me how they got away, goddammit.
and are continuing to get away.
Yeah, right.
Especially if they can just are not apparently that far from where they were possibly.
Right.
But it's a trick because they go out into the woods to find her, and then somehow, I guess, hear the explosions from the city they left, which it seemed like it was far enough away.
I thought it was pretty far.
The sound shouldn't carry, but they immediately are like, Norman.
He acted early. He said he was going to give us 5 days to like find our characters. First of all, if he was going to lie to them, why not just do it after like 1 day after they're gone? Like, why wait the extra 3 days? Maybe they will, but the point is you're not taking them seriously. You're going to do it anyway. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Point is they're doing the plan, and it's like, Norman, is this the right thing to do? The inner conflict. We need to help you now, Norman. You need to realize that you're doing a bad thing now.
Right.
You're the monster.
I like that it takes after he's already done it for him to realize that he's just like in the thick of it, seeing all the kids crying, and he's just like, what have I fucking done?
That was wisely done. That was well done.
Especially because the old man who had taken care of the kids in the temple, his daughter was, or little girl he's protecting at least, is named Emma as well. So that gives Norman the big Zack Snyder director cut. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't. What define that?
Batman v Superman, right?
What about it?
That's the one where
It gives him the big Zack Snyder cut of Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. What are you talking about?
The scene where Batman and Superman have the same
Martha!
name. Yeah,
right. Okay. That has nothing to
You
do with
have
the
a mom.
Snyder
I
cut.
have a mom.
Yeah,
Like,
I have a
it's-
mom.
yeah.
You have a daughter.
I just couldn't think of the name of the movie. That's why I said the Snyder cut.
Okay. Yes, it is exactly like that, but this is an anime. It can be a little sillier. And that old man, we knew he was a nice guy. I mean, I don't know if he knew that Emma was named Emma. Like, it was always a little weird that he was so nice to them. He seemed like he could smell them. Maybe he is one of these people who's okay with humans. I don't know what they were really going for with that guy. Did he know they were humans or did he not know?
I was not clear about that.
Maybe it's supposed to be
I think
vague.
it was intentionally vague.
It's like the thread of hope. Maybe there are some demons out there who won't kill humans, even if they know. And that's pretty much where we leave it. We're forced to be left with the moral consequences of a big murder man attack by Norman and his gang, who are really gung-ho about killing all the demons. We covered this in Gabby and the Marleyans and the Eldians. The solution is, of course, find a way to have peace. We have all the tools that we need.
Peace.
So I suspect the plot will be that. Will they wrap up this entire fucking series? How much more is left? I have no idea.
I know the
haven't
manga's
read it.
not that long, so...
I checked. It was 170 some, 180 some chapters, and I think these events were around chapter like 60, 70? Or no, that's where like the Goldie Pond
having
stuff
just
was.
read Chainsaw Man, which I
Yeah,
know
yeah.
to be vastly less text dense than this manga, just on the fact that it barely has text, I would say that it would be absolutely fucking insane to try to summarize 170 chapters in 2 seasons.
All the tools
absolutely
are there.
insane.
We could, if they wanted to, with the giant time skip powers and big brain Norman, you could say, oh no, I realized I did a bad thing. I will make up for this by doing the good thing and working with Blood Demon Girl, giving everyone the antidote, and we all go home happy. Yay, I convinced all of demons to not eat humans, or remove the humans so they can't eat them and
It
solve
might
the problem.
be pretty simple.
I don't know. They already say the ending was rushed, right? This is the weird thing. Everyone says that the ending of The Promised Neverland was rushed. The author is working with them on the anime. He definitely knew that they were cutting these large swaths of the content. I guess he thought it was okay. But like, there's no way they can even faster rush like the manga into the anime. That would be the exact opposite of what I think they were trying to accomplish. So I would suspect the story will continue past episode 12 here, but...
That might be the case. I would say of these episodes that I was more entertained than I was watching the first season. More like things happened of notable consequence. Characters had a little bit more personality. Also, they're easier to look at. Like, they don't have that weird, off-putting nature that I don't know what gave them that in the
What
first
about
show.
the kids with the gigantic triangle eyes?
Those
Look
ones are fucking weird.
Yeah.
Those little alien babies. But like, for the most part, like, I still get a little bit unnerved when there's these scenes where like it's just 12 smiling kids and there's just like picture after picture of them all like, ah, it's just like, Jesus. Like, it's so saccharine, like, at times. It can be painful.
Their features are still a little too far from the side of the face. They're still a little... This one looks decent compared to most of them.
You know what it is? It's the lack of nuance in the expressions. Is that the kids are just so, like, it's always either they're just the happiest they could imaginably be or, like, normal,
Terrified of a demon or something. That's true. And you know, as I was looking back at the manga, I was reflecting on my criticisms of the character art here. I must say, the manga, I didn't even really remember this. The manga is way kind of, like, sloppier and more, like... They're not really on model as much. It's very diverse in the way the characters are drawn in terms of like the squish and squash and the angles and stuff. And it's good, but obviously with an anime you need a codified style. So like I want to cut them a little bit of slack because there's no way they could have done that what the manga did. So you know, all in all, a decent job of looking good most of the time.
But story-wise, I'd be like, I mean, there's inventive elements to this story. It went in a more interesting direction than I expected based on where I thought we were going to end up when we left the farm, but not far enough in any particular direction for it to be like, oh, there was an interesting story in there. Like, the most interesting thing that's happened is Norman killing all these demons, and that's literally a milquetoast Attack on Titan. Like,
It's true.
like the depth... As weird as this is to say, the depth of Attack on Titan Season 4 is just so much greater than this that like it's hard to compare. And like I watched this after Mushoku Tensei. That also helped me to some degree, where like that show I had been completely uninterested in the setting and characters. This one I was like, oh, actually this is kind of neat. I do kind of want to know what's going on here and why. But I felt like I learned that really easily, and then there wasn't a lot of like dramatic build up to it. You know, it was just kind of like events happening really quickly, and I get why that would be problematic for especially manga readers.
I guess again, the hook of protect kids, that has to really do a lot for you to carry things along. And there's a reason I stopped reading, you know, a little bit somewhere in here, you know, with one of the cut arcs where I start to fade out a little bit. I'm like, I really like that first arc. I thought it was really inventive in the farms and realizing you're literally food. But once we know the mystery and all the answers are kind of there, and it's just like we're dealing with the mundane reality of trying to get by and do stuff. It's better than I'm phrasing it there, but I need a little more. That's about it. So that's it, everybody. I guess we'll probably check in for the end of the season just to see how things wrap up.
Yeah,
but
maybe we'll have read the manga more by then, because I'm
sure I will. Yeah.
I'm now curious just on the level of like to see the sheer level of alteration that must have been on display here. I still am surprised the show is coherent. if it's taken out as much as people say.
I mean, maybe it speaks to those arcs not being as critical, which is why the author would have been okay with them being cut. But I mean, I often say that I hate some of the Gurren Lagann movies just because it's not that they cut out really important details. They change the things that I hate, but it's just you don't experience it in the way where you grow to love the characters over a longer period of time. A lot of that just time sitting with characters is valuable to appreciate things. Anyway, that's it for KHANTENT episode, whatever this is, everybody. Thank you for watching. Hey, don't forget to go to that subscribestar.com/KHANTENT. $10 for all our bonus episodes. I'm sure there's a new one out by now. Go to Twitter, follow us for updates there and highlights and things, and the Discord. Talk to everybody about anime and whatever else is going on in your life. And send us KHANTENT clips for the ending of episodes, much like this one. KHANTENT!